Part of me does kind of wish that Tennant's prediction came true and his regeneration was caused by him tripping on a brick. Hey there, folks. Overdue Doctor Who review time. And first, to let you know that this particular episode of Council of Geeks is brought to you by the Radio vs. the Martians podcast. As a podcast, it's free and available on most podcast streaming platforms, and you can listen to Mike Gillis and Casey Dorn, the hosts, talk about all kinds of geeky things, whether it be Ghostbusters, whether it be Planet of the Apes, whether it be Batman, or whether it be Arnold Schwarzenegger and all of the crazy macho stuff he's done on film over the years. So, all of that stuff and much more with a rotating stable of guests. Radio vs. the Martians at radioversusthemartians.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And so, it's time that now that we are off Series 4 to start working our way through the specials. And we begin with The Next Doctor. So this one, this one's a Christmas special specifically, and it comes up regularly. My opinion of the Christmas specials overall is not especially high. I don't think all that much of them. They're just kind of there for me. They're fun, they're light, and for the most part, that's what this is too. Basically, there's a couple of elements that I love, and a couple of elements that I wish were better, and then some stuff that's like, okay, that's just kind of there. And I feel like in many ways that's the Christmas specials in a nutshell. So we've got the Doctor back in Victoria-era London, and he runs into a very suave, boisterous, kind of full of himself guy who claims to be the Doctor. Played by David Morrissey. And obviously, Tennant's initial assumption is that he is, if not the next immediate, a future regeneration of himself. Well, that turns out to not be what's going on, but there's definitely something going on because the man does believe this very sincerely. He has a companion with him, a woman named Rosita. He has what he claims is a sonic screwdriver. He has a TARDIS of a kind. And he is chasing down Cybermen. Because yes, there are Cybermen in Victorian London. And they're up to something. They've gotten in league with a woman named Miss Hartigan. And she's one of the elements that I wish worked, because I feel like, you know what I want with her? I want to read the full character backstory that I'm sure exists on a notepad somewhere that they came up with but never got to use any of, because she's just here to be the villain. But I feel like she's probably got a really exhaustive and interesting backstory and history in this world. Like, I kind of want to know what drove this woman to side with the Cybermen and do the things she does. We get hints of it. We get this whole thing of this, that, she's tired of being oppressed and ignored. But at the same time, I feel like, okay, so you seem to have a legitimate vendetta against, for lack of a better term, well-off men. Okay, but you're totally chill with killing kids? Because a bunch of kids are going to die with the plane. And that's not to say that it doesn't work, and I'm sure you could no-prize it, and maybe she just is that heartless. But I feel like I needed to get to know her slightly better than we actually get to do in this, especially considering that supposedly her willpower is so strong that is what defeats the Cybermen in a very cheesy, she's gonna scream so loud that everybody blows up, including herself. It happens in a really bad shot, to be completely honest. But given how much she factors into a lot of what goes on in the tail end. I kind of wish we knew more about her in specific and got to know her a bit better. David Morrissey as the Doctor-ish, and then later on as Jackson Lake, once he realizes who he actually is an interesting thing as well. Because when he is quote-unquote the Doctor, he is more or less Tennant, like, cranked up to 11. Just a little more arrogant. Just a little more boisterous. Just a little more assuming he's in control of everything. Which are all qualities that Tennant has, but he's just cranked them up ever so slightly. He borders on grating, but like in a way that feels deliberate and kind of makes a certain amount of sense, given what it is that's going on with him. He's latching on to this persona of the Doctor, and yeah, he's gonna really dive into it and ramp it up a bit. But the thing is, once he gets his memory back and he gets to be Jackson Lake again, I think David Morrissey is brilliant. I like him when he thinks he's the Doctor. I love him when he's Jackson Lake, because the bravado falls away and the humanity comes forward. The sense of loss, the sense of fear, that, and it's not like it's just suddenly boom, it seeps into the performance, and yet he still has just enough of sort of that gung-ho nature left over from when he thought he was the Doctor that it keeps him going. I really love his performance, and there's something about when he realizes that he didn't just lose his wife, but that his child was taken. There's something about his performance as that revelation hits him, and he looks up, and there's his son standing on this ledge, tearing up and too scared to move. Oh. That's in the feels for me. Both those performances, and I say performance for the kid. The kid doesn't do much, but no, he's got a great look, great, huge, wide, wet eyes. Like, no, that works. But yeah, that hits me. That hits me a bit. And I also really love at the end where, like, because he's kind of been the Doctor a bit, he's got the Doctor's number. He knows the Doctor needs a companion, even though the Doctor's currently in a state of denial on that. And I love him stepping into the TARDIS and just calling it wonderful nonsense and so very silly. And then decide, nope, it's too much, and gotta go. I love it. I love it so much. Like, I wish there was a reasonable way to bring him back. Like, I don't know what you do with it. I don't know how you could do it without it feeling contrived. But I really do like him a lot. As far as the Cybermen go, they are about what they've been since they've been reintroduced into New Who. They are functional. They get the job done. The Cyber Shades are a little goofy. But then again, it's the Christmas special. The story's a little goofy. Cyber King is a little much, but then later on, the fact that like nobody seems to remember it actually becomes a bit of a plot point in later seasons, although I'm not sure it was initially designed to be that. But it's fine. I think part of the reason I don't quite gel with the Cyber King is it gives me flashbacks to the movie Wild Wild West, because she's in this giant, this giant robot shooting fireballs saying, you will bow to me, why aren't they subjugating to me? And it just makes me think of Wild Wild West and this insanely hammy performance from Kenneth Branagh as he strolls up in a mechanical spider and demands that the entire United States be ceded over to him. Like, I can't help but get that same vibe, and it makes it harder for me to take it seriously. And again, I grant, it's the Christmas special. I don't know how seriously I'm meant to be taking it, but I'd like to take it more seriously than I would take Wild Wild West. And it does give me that vibe a little bit. I haven't talked too much about Tennant. He's good. You can see the kid gloves that he's kind of handling Jackson with, and I like that. That's part of what I like about their dynamic. He's he's very concerned about Jackson, even before he fully realizes what the guy's deal is. And I like that even during a period in which he thinks he doesn't need to be traveling with a companion, he still has that level of care. He hasn't shut off his ability to be concerned. He just doesn't think he needs somebody else in the TARDIS with him. So I like that. They could have made him much colder, in the wake of losing Donna the way he did. But I like the kind of balance that's found, that he's kind of put himself into a bit of a self-exile, but his nature as just needing to be around people is still there. And I like that. Rosita's fun. She's sassy. Yeah, it's pretty... Oh, it was a cool little moment that I didn't even... I don't think I caught before. When Miss Hartigan has the four guys that she has, they get the ear pods in, and she has them turn right, turn left, the same way that Lumix's head guy did back in the original Cybermen 2 pilot, like turn to the right, turn to the left, and just kind of getting a kick out of it. I kind of like that they repeated that beat with her. I don't think I ever noticed that before. It's the sort of things you catch when you're binging through. Well, I say binge. It's not like I'm doing it like in rapid fire, back to back, night after night. But going through these in more rapid succession than was around their original air dates means I'm catching some of this stuff that I missed before in terms of the connections and things like that. And that's kind of fun. Not that it's like a major plot point, but it's practically an Easter egg, and I enjoyed it. So overall, I think this is decent. It's probably about middling, honestly, maybe even higher end as far as the Christmas specials specifically go, but given that I think less of the Christmas specials in general than I do of the standard episodes of Doctor Who, realize I'm grading on a curve when I say that. But the next Doctor, what did you think of it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Whole bunch of stuff to do down there as well. There's the like button. Really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate that too. There's the Patreon. Definitely appreciate that. But there's all this other stuff. Take a look at it. Or don't. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Because at the end of the day, folks, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.